In this movie, I'm going to show you how to place a graphic, manipulate a graphic within its container, and create a text wrap. In order to bring a graphic into this document, I'm going to go up to File, go down to Place, navigate to my image, here it is, and I'm going to click Open. I want you to notice that my cursor loads up with the image. Now, I can do one of two things. I can either click, which will place the graphic at its actual size, or Command Z, I can click and drag a box, and that will also put the graphic into my file. Now, looking at this graphic, I want to kind of break it down for you. Whenever you have a graphic container, there's always two parts. There's the container itself, and then there is the image within the container. So right now I have the actual box or the container selected, and I can click up here and I can move it wherever I want to move it, okay? Now, if I want to select the image within the container, I hold my cursor over the little bullseye that shows up in the middle here. Notice how it becomes a hand? And if I click here, you're going to see how the color changes from blue to brown. That's because I have the image selected and not the container. And to illustrate this, I'll grab this and kind of move this down to the side. And you're going to see here's my container and here's my image. So my whole image is still here. It's just off to the side. Let me click away now. So you can see how it's kind of cropped off because this is the boundary for my graphics. It's the graphic container. So clicking on the inside again, or inside my container, I have my image. I'm going to move it back to where it was, like so. Okay, so now it kind of looks like it's exactly even with the container itself. So that's one way to choose the image and the container. Here's another way. I'm going to click on the container and I'm going to come all the way up here. Look at these two buttons right here. This will allow you to either select the content of the container or the container itself. So since I have the container selected, I'm going to work in inverse. I'm going to select content. Notice how it's brown now? And I can go back up here and I can select the container. So these are handy for selecting the content of a container or the container itself. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to show you is up here, all the way over here. In your content bar are several options that you're going to use for manipulating objects within their containers. Okay, we'll get to those in a second. But lastly, what I wanted to get to was this links panel. I want you to notice in the links panel, here's the link. Okay, I have it selected so it's highlighted. Showing me its location, PB means pasteboard. It's off to the side of my document here. This is the absolute resolution, which is 250 ppi, pixels per inch. And this is the relative resolution, which is 500 ppi. These numbers do not match because this number here is actually larger because this document is placed smaller than at its actual size. So you always want to make sure that this number here is between 200 and 300 ppi. So you can, at times, you can always reduce an image, but you never want to make it any bigger than its actual or effective PPI, which is exactly what it is when it shows up in Photoshop. So these are important little things to pay attention to in your links panel. Then if you go down here in your links panel, this will give you an option to relink an image if you're missing one. This will let you go to a link, and then this actual button will let you update, but we don't have anything to update now because everything's selected. Because remember, InDesign links your image with the file in its original place. It creates a low resolution preview, and this is for screen redraw purposes. And then finally, you have your edit original. So if I wanted to edit this particular item in Photoshop, I would just have to click here, and then Photoshop would open like it's doing now, and I could edit my image. So that's on the bottom of the links panel. Further down here, I want you to look at these options here. It's going to give you the name. It's going to give you the status, OK meaning it's linked, and where it is, what its size is, what its color space. You can check any of your images color space down here. Don't worry about ICC profiles right now. And then here's once again your actual and your effective PPI down here, and your scale. So you want to make sure it's not scaled any larger than 100%. And right now it's at 50%, so that's fine. So if it was at 250 PPI at its effective or its absolute resolution, okay, which means exactly what it is, and then I scaled it down, that's going to double its effective PPI. So this is a relative number, which means it depends upon the size that you make your image, okay? So that's your links panel, your image that you stuff information that you need to pay attention to in your links panel, and how to put an image into your document. I have another movie in a second that will go over these items in your content bar.